Hello, I'm Annie Sloan. I'm in my studio in Oxford and I'm going to start painting for you something that I think I really love it. It's a piece of fabric, it's painted, and I was trying to get something looking quite old and as if it was old wallpaper. Over the years has discoloured and done lots of different things, so not discoloured, but it's maybe faded a little bit and got a little damaged. I love that look, and it comes from this is a book I wrote in 1998, quite a long time ago, and it's this design here which we have been inspired, and that's my stencil here. This is the stencil that sort of comes from there. It's called Chinoiserie birds. It's slightly sort of Chinese inspired because these would be wallpapers that were painted. Here's a better picture from another book that I have, a book by Swedish. It's all in Swedish, so it's a beautiful place. Now I decided to use my stencil, but in a completely different way. I wasn't using the same colours. I wanted to get a different look. And so I have done this on fabric. So this is some lining fabric, in fact, so not very expensive fabric. It does look as though it's maybe old paper or whatever. It's got these different colours and it's a bit faded in places and a bit darker in places. It's the idea was that it would go up on the wall. I would staple it to the wall, and then there'd be a dado area underneath. So that's what I'm going to show you, how I did this. Now I did it quite a while ago. I think I did it maybe a year or 2 years ago. So I can't exactly remember how I did it. So I'm going to have to try to recreate it. It doesn't matter, because what I'm doing is giving you the ideas of how to do it, and I may not exactly get that, but it will be nearly there. So I've got some bits of cotton here, so it's just an ordinary, nice quality cotton. Could be lining fabric or whatever. I'll put the rest there. So I'm going to put this out. I've got some paint, I've got a roller, I've got brushes. That's, I think, my kit. Of course you can do it in other colours. I'm just going to repeat this to try to repeat it anyway. So it's Aubusson blue and some duck egg, and when I do the stencil I've got some other colours. What I'm going to do is just wet it all over. Now, in doing this, I'm doing it on a very, very rough surface, and I'm still not sure whether the rough surface helps to give it the texture. So we did try it on a flat surface again today, and it was not quite working, so maybe the texture is needed. So maybe you could put, I don't know, some plastic underneath it, or, I don't know, make it up yourself, see what you can do. The water, why I'm putting on water is I don't want to paint the fabric. If I just put paint directly on, what will happen, it will get quite heavy and thick. If I put watery paint on, it tends to just run everywhere. So this gives me just a little bit more control. So some areas are really wet, and I haven't wet everything. So now I'm going to put that on, stir it a bit, pop my blue onto my brush, and now I'm just going to rub it over like that, and it is giving me some texture already. So because of the rough area underneath, I haven't finished it yet, but you can see there's quite a bit of texture on there. So I mean, you could maybe do it outside on a concrete or something like that. I know it sounds crazy, but this is what we do, don't we? So I'm painting it all over, different directions. Now in doing this, I think that I might have used a roller. So I've got a a roller here. It's quite a fluffy roller. That will give it more texture. So not a sponge roller, it's a sort of woolly roller. It gives lots of texture, which is sometimes something I don't often want. But in this case, I do. So I'm going to do, and actually I'm not pressing hard, I'm pressing quite lightly. So if you press hard and use a lot of paint, you'll get that sort of look. So what I'm doing is just not getting too much paint on there. And then just sort of, I'm hardly touching. And that gives you some great texture on it. So when you're doing this, when I was doing it, I was imagining sort of, old houses with wallpapers coming off, and sometimes it's a bit heavy, sometimes it's a bit darker, sometimes a bit faded. I'm now going to try a little bit of duck egg blue on there. And if you do get too much, like I've got quite a lot on there now, I don't think it matters because you just go over it a bit. I don't want to get too much on because it will get heavy, but heavy in weight and crispness. You don't want it to be too crisp. This is quite heavy enough as it is now. So that's how it's looking now. It'll dry slightly different. And I'm going to get a little bit more now of the dark one. So you'll notice I'm going every different direction, so that, and I've got a bit of a pattern going there, so I'll just go over that a bit. So that's looking quite nice, I think. What I also did was that I got some paints onto here, and then I did that so that I get splashes of paint. Not too much, but did seem to help a bit. And you can even do where it's just more or less water, and that water sometimes opens it up and gives it a little bit of another nice look. So that's how you do this bit. I'm going to put this away and bring out one I did earlier. So this is the bit that I did earlier. So I am now going to start stenciling. Now this is my stencil, and I'll plan where you're going to do it. So what I've done here is work it out. So I've done that, and then I took this and put that down the side like that, and I turned it round, so that's a good thing. I turned that round there, so it was that direction and then that direction. So it's good if you've got two of these, but you haven't, just wait a little bit and it will dry. You could do it in strips if you want to. So now I'm going to put this one here. I'm going to use my mix mat to mix all the colours as we go. What I'm going to do, if you notice on here, there's sort of one main colour, and that is duck egg blue. So duck egg blue is mainly, so I'll do duck egg blue over it all and then go back in with some other colour. So I will do, this is a sponge roller, it's the bigger of the two. I've got another one which is smaller, so I'm going to use this one first, and I'm going to get my duck egg blue out, put it on my mix mat, and then make certain that your roller is completely covered. Don't get too much on. At the moment there is actually a lot on here, so you can see that it's sort of quite sticky. That's better, and I'll spread it out so you don't have much. If you have too much paint, what it will do is go underneath, and you want little. So I don't want to spread, I don't want to press too hard either. If I press too hard, it's going to go under. So I'm just going to hold it in place. So now I'm just going to very lightly do this. The reason I go over in one colour is because then it's all done. And the reason I don't use a brush is because I want to get on with this. I don't want to spend ages waiting for this to dry, or just waiting for it to do it, because this is the main area. So I'm just going to lift that shut. So see how that looks now? That's looking lovely, I think. I might just need to do a little bit more. There are some areas which are a little just too pale. That's fine. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So it's quite light. Don't worry, you think, oh, but some bits are too dark. Yes, but we're too light and not showing enough, not contrasting. Don't worry about that, because I've got other colours to go onto there. So that's my first colour. I could just keep on doing that. I could even do a bit of white on there. Now, as I said, I did turn this over. I can't turn it over yet because this is still wet. So when I was doing my large piece, I could work out where that one is and where the next one would be. So what I'm going to do is cheat slightly, and I've got another stencil here. So not everyone will have that, but you will have time. So thank you very much. And I'm going to put this in the right position. So I'm going to do this. So I'm going to do this again. I think I'm going to do these lines down the side here. So now actually what I'll do is just show you how to do this bit here. So on here there are little holes, and they are to guide you to make certain that you've got the repeat correct. So I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to do a little bit of paint onto those there, and then take this and make certain that this is going over those. You can always paint those out with a little bit of Aubusson blue. And then the same thing. Oh, I hope that's right. Oh yeah, it is. Gosh, I didn't believe my own markings there. I think that's right. So I'm going to do this bit here. I've done the same thing. I've filled in those holes. Now I'm going to just go over this bit. So that's all done now. That little bit is all covered. So at the moment only two colours, Duck Egg Blue and Aubusson. So now I'm going to use a little bit of Scandi Pink. Actually, I don't mind the fact that there's some Duck Egg Blue there, because it will sort of mingle in and be quite nice. So, this is where you find, now where was that bit? There. So, I just want to choose some bits. And I don't worry that I'm doing that on the sort of the breast of the bird, and that will also go a little bit. There's some berries there. I'm doing a bit on the berries. It won't matter if it's also slightly on the leaves. I think that's lovely. It helps it make it sort of flow. There's a slightly pink flower. There's some more there. I could do the head slightly more pinky there. They don't have to all be the same. And then the tail there, What I love about this is that you can change it. There's no rules that you have to make it all exactly the same. In fact, it's probably better if you don't. And you can always do that and go, no, I don't like that. You can go over that with some Duck Egg Blue. So there's nothing ever, doesn't go too far. And here another one here. And again, to make it look like it's, I mean, this whole thing was hand painted in the first place, the original one. So I'm going to try to give that feeling of slightly hand painted. So I'm going to leave that as that, show you how it's going so far. So a third colour, and now a fourth colour, which is the olive green. These colours that I've chosen are actually quite Scandinavian, and although the original one is in whites and stuff, that this is colours that were used a lot in Sweden, particularly in the 18th century. I mean, only in very grand houses. So this isn't, these were expensive colours, particularly the blue. So now I'm going to mix, oops, that's quite a lot, a little bit of olive. One thing you might notice that I'm using very little paint. I mean, it really is the tiniest amount. If you get too much, it will go under. So do be careful when you're doing this. Don't go mad and start trying to use lots and lots and lots of paint. It won't help, it will hinder. So now I'm going to do this. I'm going to do slightly more the greeny, sort of like, it's been very conventional, but leaves are green. But I think a little bit on the bird is really nice. And what is lovely about this is you can sort of angle it, so you get, and I could actually go back and there's a little bit of pink flower there. I don't know if that's working. Yeah, that's nice. Actually, it's got a bit of pink and green together overlaying. That's looking nice. Yep, all looking good. And as I say, if you do a bit that you don't like, always go over it, it won't matter. So here we are, like that. I just want to see how this compares, and I've got a feeling I've used stronger colour on this one than I did on there, and also this is stronger here. So actually I like it, I'm very happy with it, but I could sort of, as I say, knock it back a little, and I think I'm going to experiment and see if it can work. I've got this, which is the original one I used. It's the hairy roller, which is what I call the hairy, it's woolly. And I'm just going to just get a tiny, tiny amount of paint. And just see if I can just roll bits over too. So there, that's just faded it away so that it looks like some bits have actually faded. And I just think that's just a bit more atmospheric. So hairy rollers are something you'll find in your normal DIY shops. I think they're around a lot. I think they're used for gloss paint, I'm not exactly sure. But I like them because they do some quite interesting texture. Well, I'm liking this, and I think that it was good that I put that little last area over it just to sort of knock it back a bit. So that's how you do it. And then when it's all done, the big sheet like I've got here, big sheet of fabric, I then pinned it to the wall with a staple gun. So I got a staple gun, and what you do is you start in the middle, you staple there, you pull down, staple there, you then pull to the side, pull to the side in the middle, stapling hard and pulling it out. So you've got one in the one and 4 staples, but pulled from the center. And then you work, having got that one up, then you'll go to the corner and then go to the middle and then go to, keep going out. So when it's up there, I would not be sealing it in any way whatsoever, because I like the fact that it's texture. See, if you put wax on it, it will become like leather. If you varnish it, it will become horrible and hard and very plasticky. I wouldn't want that. So I would leave it like that. Now, in France and other countries like that, you'll often find this sort of fabric on the wall. It is just fabric and it will get dirty and all the rest of it. You don't wash it, it's fine. That's what I would do. So you could even, if you wanted to, put some sort of wadding behind it so that it was slightly soft. Again, you'll find that in a lot of French restaurants, they have it, and so everything's very calm and lovely in there because it's padded walls basically. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting look. You know, it's got, I mean, I've done it like this, but you could do it in a million ways. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and you've been inspired by the whole, the washing and the wet fabric and then the stenciling on top. I think it's a really great look, and I've done it very 18th century. We could do it completely differently and have a very modern look. So, well, thank you for watching.